Hello, everyone. Good morning. Thank you for joining us today. Um, I just want to confirm that everybody can hear me clearly. So if you can hear me, please just use the chat function to say, I can hear you, I'm here, good morning, whatever you want to say, it's fine. I just want to verify that you can all hear me. I see one, I can hear you. Thank you so much. I'm going to go like 5 before I start. Great. Okay, I see. Okay, so I think I have 5. I have 4 people. One more person. Great. Thank you very much. My name is Yewande Akomalafe Kalu. I lead the storytelling and branding team at Flutterwave. And welcome to our Grow My Business webinar. As some of you already know, our Grow My Business webinar is a webinar series that we organize with speakers from all around the world. And we focus on, providing you with the knowledge and tips to be able to truly grow your business. We focus on topics from business growth in marketing, revenue generation, finance management, business continuity. And when we first started, we also focused on how to adapt to the pandemic, in order for your business to continue to grow. I think this is our 30th Grow My Business webinar. We've been doing this for a year now. Some of you have been joining us from the very, very beginning, so this is very exciting. Today, I'm very excited. We're talking specifically about fueling your small business success through customer insight-driven innovation. I think that's fantastic. And because basically the only way that you can continue to innovate is by using insights from your customers. But many people will have the question of how do you get the insights from your customers? How do you reach out to them? How do you use the information that they give you? And how do you even get valuable information? Because reaching out to them is one thing, but how do you get valuable information from them as well? So today we have the amazing Elymas, who is going to be talking to us about fueling your small business success through insight-driven innovation. So I'm going to just present a real quick presentation just to go over our house rules and some information, and then Elymas is going to come on in about 2 minutes. I'm going to share my screen now. Here's our agenda. I'm doing the quick introductions and house rules right now. And obviously, we'll now go into Elymas's session, which is fueling your small business through customer insight-driven innovation. And then we'll have a question and answer session. We'll take about 3 or 4 questions when he's done with his session. And then we'll go into the Flutterwave session where we introduce one of our products to you as a solution for small, medium businesses. And then we'll now take another Q&A session where we'll take about 2 or 3 more questions. So that's the run through. Like I said, Elymas is a marketer by profession, and he's a business leader by practice. He has experience in commercial innovations, brand and digital marketing, and he has worked for amazing, world-class global brands like Diageo, Bati, Airtel Telecom, Millicom Telecom, and he's currently at MSI Reproductive Choice. He's the country head of marketing and communications for Ghana, and he is the lead partner for marketing and digital at Brand Council Limited, Ghana as well. So he's very well equipped to take us through the session. I hope that you are all ready to get as much information as possible and to truly, truly be able to grow your business after this session. So some information that you should know is that the webinar is being recorded, and we plan to send the recording out via email to all of you who have registered. So even if you're registered and you are not able to stay through, we will send you the webinar recording. And what we do is all our previous webinars are available on our YouTube. So it's like a powerhouse of information on our YouTube. You just go on YouTube, search Flutterwave, and on our channel, go to our YouTube playlist that is called Grow My Business Webinar. You see all our previous webinars. Like I said, we've been doing this for a year now. And so we have all the webinars from previous sessions as well. Something I want to verify. I have asked you now twice to send some messages in the chat function. You're free to do that all through the webinar, to chime in, to send your opinions, to just talk. That's okay. But when we want to answer the questions specifically, we do need you to use the Q&A section. So there's a Q&A section, as you can see on your screen, and there's also the chat function. Please use the Q&A section because that's where we are going to address questions from. It helps us to be able to separate what is a comment from what is a question. It just makes our lives a little bit easier. So please just use the Q&A section. And then the last thing is, if we're unable to get to your question, or if you have something that is very specific to you as a business, you can email hi@flutterwavego.com or send a message to us at FLW Support on Twitter for all issues and all additional questions. The team will be able to direct you to the right person, or will be able to direct you to the right link or information that will be able to help you with your issues. So I'm going to stop talking now, and I'm going to allow Elymas to take it over from here.
Thanks so much, Ewode, for the wonderful introduction, and thanks to Flutterwave for the opportunity to share my experience and based on my years of work within marketing and commercial. So just a point of caution, I do a bit of teaching too, so I wouldn't want this session to be focused on lecture. I just want it to be more practical. So if I'm so much went to the lecture side or anything that you don't understand, just point out to me during the Q&A session as well. I'll be going on video if you permit me, and I'll share my screen so that I can reserve some bandwidth for the session today. So I'm just going to share now. So Ewode has been able to take us through the agenda for today. So I'll take you to the outline for my session on fueling your small business with customer-driven insight for innovation. Basically, this is how the flow is going to be. We'll have some discussion on antecedent for the drive for customer insight. We'll get to understand what is customer insight from our point. And we'll also take a look at why customer insight, relevance of customer insight to a small business. And this is where I think you should pay more attention to. Then we look at the entrepreneurial innovation process as well, how that means and how that fits and how customer insight fits in there. In part of customer insight, we'll look into that. And we'll get to appreciate rapid insight gathering. There's some rapid insight tools that you could use for your small business in order to gain relevant and actionable customer insight. So I'll proceed to talk about basically what were the antecedents for the drive for customer insight. So this information was shared by Accenture. Accenture is a global consulting firm, as you know. And it's so vivid that you could see the move of marketing. Marketing has actually moved from the point of mass market era to the era of relevance. I share this so that you get to appreciate that every decade, you get to see the focus shift within the marketing cycle. And for small businesses, this is more relevant. So realize that in 2020, as you can see, we've moved to where technology enablers are more around digitalization of everything. The areas that we can point out as success in terms of performance has to do with customer attraction, no more retention. Our market approach has actually moved much more to personalization, hence the need for customer insights. And management focus systems has moved to experience and personality. So you could see that market approach and then management focus have actually moved much more into the I in your business. And this is so clear. So if you're a business taking the decade of 2010s strategies now, you may be behind. You need to relook at yourself, look at your system and see how you could adjust to the relevant things of digitalization, customer attraction, and personalization, which have become key for our businesses. We are in the era of relevance, and that is really key. Why relevance? Because information is out there. Now the consumer or the customer has access to a lot of information. So what happens is alternatives are everywhere. So I'm able to choose at just a quick tap on my phone, just check, and I'll be able to see and compare pricing, compare promotions that are being run, compare the value that you are offering across your competitor or across the market. And that is where we are now. Information is out there. So personalization is key, and that's why we need customer insight. So this is just to let you know, these are some of the drivers of customer insight. Another antecedent to the drive for customer insight, it's the approach to move from an inside-out business more towards an outside-in business. How does it mean in terms of inside-out? Inside-out is mostly focused on the business, what you're passionate about. It's about, although you're asking yourself the whys, you're actually moving towards what your internal competencies are. What is essential to you as a business, what you're passionate about, and that is what you do. What are we good at? What do we love? And it's mostly focused towards your internal competencies and capabilities. And that has actually failed in most times. That is why most businesses are shifting towards an outside-in approach to business. An outside-in approach, it's the key word there is need, customer need. It's not a product. Inside out focuses on product or services that you provide and all that. But the outside-in approach to business is actually looking at the need out there. And it's also underlined or underpinned with the idea that customer value creation is key to success. Customer value creation, it's a big driver of success for your business. Hence, the drive or the interest, the increasing interest in customer insight. So I just want to think our mind by letting you know what my understanding of customer insight based on some experience and my reading elsewhere and all that. I believe customer insight, it's the penetrating discovery about customers, their motivation first, attitudes, behavior, acts, and these are action to unlock growth. So the key things that you should look at is motivation, attitude, behavior, which are unlocked which are action to unlock growth. So you may have this motivation, attitudes, and behavior, but if you don't action it, it doesn't give you anything. It just becomes an insight that you have lying down on your shelf elsewhere. Motivation, attitude, and behavior, because you may think about insight, and insights, you get to find that some businesses put out insight and they're thinking about the age, the gender, the location, and all that. And those are statics variables that you look at in terms of demography of your customers. But motivation, attitude, and behaviors are key character attitudes. Character attitude, emphasis on character attitudes. Character attitudes are not static. They shift, they change with time, with the environment, with the interaction, with any move a customer makes. The customer is actually impacted, and his or her motivation, attitude, or behavior shifts with time. So in insight, you should focus on motivation, attitudes, and behavior. And these are the foundation of a great innovation or a great marketing strategy. For a business to grow, think more around character, attitude. And you must know that maybe I would just want to provide a clarity between an information data or information and insight, because a lot of businesses have information and they think it's insight. Information is just data to you, but you should know that information is what actually fuels the insight engine. in order for you to understand insight, you need to have some information, and that is what is given to you. But it's up to you asking yourself the whys, the whys, the whys. And it's mostly gives you some in-depth answers to what you need for your insight. So your insight should be focused on motivations, attitude, and behaviors. You should action it to unlock growth. Now, why insight? It has always been the case that a lot of small businesses fear the idea of insight because they consider insight to be research. And research, first, there's no money involved, there's no money available for it, and there's no time because decision has to be made in a quick manner. And but in understanding insight, from my view, you get to understand that insights are really, really important for your business, and it shouldn't cost you that much. I'll talk about some tools to help you, and it will be very quick for you to use such tools to glean insight, actionable insight for you. So as you can see, some organizations use some tools and then they don't really get, or they use the wrong tools to glean insight. But you must know that insight is good. So insight, you ask yourself what? That's the issue. What? Then the information comes and you start asking yourself why. So you keep asking yourself the whys. Then after you glean the insight, then ask yourself, so what? So what? And that is where you need to action your insight to unlock growth. So it's quite vivid that while you mine deeper for insight, which becomes good to increase for innovations and all that, you keep asking yourself the whys and then the so what. So what? So what do I do next? Yeah. So that's the basis of insight. But the relevance of insights to you as a small business, it's something you should consider. I'll talk about the outputs first. First, insights, it's actually bedrock for your marketing strategy. Areas of change involved would be your messaging. Whether your messaging, you are actually focusing on rational or what we call the functional messaging, and or a blend of that with emotional benefits being communicated. So in understanding your reason to believe, or to learn your reason to believe, you need to actually use insight to glean your message, or to see how your audience actually perceive your message. It actually affects your creatives, your images, and then your media to use, and the channels as well. That's the relevance of insight within your small business marketing strategy. In output as well, processes. I'll talk about processes. The application of design thinking. Design thinking is a big field that is coming on, and it's out there. It considers the user as the centerpiece of everything we do. So in design thinking, you need to apply design thinking with insight to your processes within your company. I traveled let me just tell this story. I traveled last week, and I went to a hotel and I wanted to buy dinner. Then it was a takeout. So I placed my order, and then I saw a notice for me to pay through electronic payment. So I asked the lady whether I can pay, and then she said, yes, I can pay. So I saw the code there, I issued the payment, and I said, okay, where's my receipt? Now she's now telling me that I should hold on. So I waited for a hold on. She's trying to call her manager to confirm whether she has the payment has reflected. That's where I got a bit scared that maybe I'll lose my money, or my money has gone to the wrong number. Because all this while, the payment system, or the payment the POS system, it's actually not sitting with them. And that is how our processes have been as small businesses. And we put in processes thinking it's actually preventing a particular or earning our helping us our business. By the end, it's not actually from the customer's point. So processes, systems are key. So digitalization, adaptation of technologies, it's all driven by the kind of insights that you get from your customers as a small business. People, one key thing. You need to understand through insight, you either think about upscaling, how you recruit as a small business. Is it really relevant now? It's the people that you bring or the kind of individuals that you have, employees that you have in your organization now. Are they actually up to what your customers need based on insight, trainings and all that? And about how your employees embrace lifelong learning, and you as a small business owner also embrace lifelong learning. It's all based on what is out there, based on customer insight. These are the outputs, and I want to talk much more about outcomes, because outcomes are the key things for as a business. So outcomes, if you're interested in building a business for the future, you should consider insight. Because insight will actually help you with your driving awareness and the penetration through trials for your business, your services, and your products that you have out there. Another thing you should consider is as well, the outcome has to be you promote business efficiency. You actually account and you are ready to make amends for every spend that you put out there, every investment into any area of your business. You will actually know that, okay, this insight will actually bring out some more money, some more income to you. So you focus on insight, and that will possibly provide positive returns on investment per spend that you give. The last one in terms of outcomes that I actually want to talk about it drives key marketing levers for business growth. So insights will actually help you with your reach and your net sales value, looking at profitability, net sales value coming. And if you play within an industry that has so many, or a category that has so many competitors, you need to think about your value and your volume share within that category. And insight helps you, positions you with the right actions in order to take advantage of it. So these are the three different relevance of insight in terms of outcomes. I've talked about outputs, and these are the outcomes for you to consider. I'll quickly move on to talk about the entrepreneurial innovation process. So you see the chameleon there, and that is how we should think about business. Chameleon has been seen to adjust its researchers have said that it actually adjusts its color or its skin to fit the environment based on temperature and to conserve temperature and all that. Because if it doesn't adjust, it may actually wither in terms of its skin. It's also a defense mechanism. It's out of fear. It's out of how they feel. That's how they changed it. And you would see that the chameleon doesn't change based on how it feels. It actually changes based on the environment, how the environment is moving. So if you are there as a business, think about how chameleon it's all over Africa. You know, you may have seen a chameleon somewhere in the zoo or somewhere growing up or in a bush somewhere. So it actually adjusts to the environment because it sees it as a survival mechanism and also position itself, especially for food and also for protection against all prey and all that. So the entrepreneurial innovation process starts mostly with a startup. Like you have an idea, put it all in there. You consider its growth, you push it all to grow. Then you focus on sustaining it and renewing it. Now, insight actually plays in especially all these areas, but especially focus much more on the startup, where you start the idea. Then it also becomes more prominent within when you need to renew, because you're actually going to start the process again. the entrepreneurial innovation process is not an end in itself. And that's what you should consider as small business owners. We should keep on innovating, focus on innovating at scale, consider innovation as a process, consider insights in all the 4 stages that has been called out. And you may look at this and you may think it's much more of a literal piece or anything. But if you take a look at it and consider your business now, put your business into perspective, you may consider yourself or a product or a service within any of these circles. Either you are within the startup, you are within the growth period, you are sustaining at scale, or you're actually renewing to start all over again. You need to consider insight at each of these stages. Don't just sit down when you start a new product, but continue to glean more insight, continue to understand what your customers are saying. And I'll show you some of the tools to actually do that. So that's the entrepreneurial innovation process. Now, the impact on customer insights on innovation has actually moved. I consider it across 3 different brackets. If you're actually recruiting, re-recruiting, recruiting or disruption, you need to consider insight. How does this work? So if you're actually re-recruiting, which is really key within our stage of relevance based on Accenture's presentation or what the ideas that they've shared, you could see that even your current customers, you need to actually re-recruit by upselling or cross-selling to new services and all that. And re-recruiting is really key. Looking at how your customer experience it and then looking at leveraging that, changing your customer experience to actually meet the current standard, to actually keep them in. Recruiting is key. What you take from the competitor, it's really key. It's actually competitive out there, especially for small businesses. So you need to focus on recruiting. Don't lay back on loyalty alone. Think more into recruiting. Consider it, marketers say leaky bucket. The leaky bucket is leaking. You need to actually put much more in there. Keep on recruiting. Then you focus also on loyalty, but make sure you're out there recruiting because consumers have or customers have alternative based on information available. You actually disrupt as well. It's good you disrupt. If you are a market entrant and you're actually coming into a category that is really disruptive, get to understand through customer insight how you could disrupt. What is actually not being provided within the industry. It's been said that 40 to 9% of innovations fail without the right insight. And most of this are not based on the customer insight. So 40 to 90% of innovation fail based on that as well. And you need to ensure that you as a business, you are there because it's the customer. You're not there because it's you. You are there because the customer is there. So you need to start with the customer, lead with the customer, and end with the customer at every stage. So whether you are considering re-recruiting, recruiting, or disrupting the space, you need to focus on the customer. And creative ideas for you for your next product or anything could easily come from your customer. And that should be it. And we should also consider that these stages are very relevant for whether you are into creating a commercial value, delivering or thinking about profits always, or you are doing a social business. You need to really consider this very well because competition is actually high in there. Okay. So as I said, the customer is the centerpiece of what you do, and focus on customer insights in fulfilling the needs of your customers across all these 3 distinct objectives, whether you are trying to recruit, re-recruit, recruit, or disrupt. You focus on this. Now, I've talked about the whys. Now, I need to talk about the how. How do we do this? How do we do this? So I'll talk about a tool that I have been using within my organization, and just sharing with you a small business. So I'll talk about the dolphin. Dolphin, I see the dolphin as the one of, I think it's the second smartest, but considered to be the smartest animal on the earth, and how smart they are, how intuitive they are, how they're able to search for their food in the water, how they can be able to track down prey and all that. They are very smart animals. As mammals, as we also consider ourselves smarter in terms of our business in how we do insight. So I'll talk about rapid insight gathering. Rapid insight, it's basically asking people the right questions to answer specific needs in a timely and a practical way. It's not the normal focus group discussion that we look through, or structured interviews that you may be thinking about, which small businesses consider as expensive and not something to invest in, but something that you can do on your own, lead or help your employees actually help you do. So rapid insights, we actually use it mostly. It's mostly a qualitative based kind of interaction. It helps you define, redefine, interpret, and understand problems better. And it actually helps you about some information around your products and then your services and all that. It's great at even helping you continuously monitor services or products so that it can be more responsive to your customers out there. And it's key because it's beyond routine data that you actually collect and then start analyzing and then get clean information. It doesn't go into that space. But remember, which I'll emphasize on, while using rapid insight, you need to adhere to ethical principle. You can't just use rapid insight without adhering to, especially around confidentiality and get a seeking consent of your the individual, your customers that you interact with. It's quite great that you do that. Now, as you know about rapid insight, I just want to tell you the basis of rapid insight, or what rapid insight is based on. Rapid insight, as you said, is aimed at understanding the what, the customer. So the what is the issue out there, the issue that the customer has, or the issue that the customer is not actually seeing, which I'll term it to be in the motivation, their behavior or attitude. And in doing so, we use, we have the empathy map. So this is the empathy map, and the empathy map it's focused on think, feel, do, and say. And at every time, you need to consider what the customer is thinking, feeling, saying, or doing at every stage. So all your questions, all your interactions should focus on understanding all these four quadrants around what the customer might be thinking, what the customer tells, like you in particular, about what he actually feels or she feels, then, or not feel, believes. Then if you talk about feeling, which is under the empathy map, you look at the emotions. I talk about how you balance your messaging around either functional or rational messages versus emotional message. So feel is really key in there. What's the emotion that they're actually feeling? Then you consider say, what would they say to others? Word of mouth, it's really key there. What would they tell others? How would they even define you? What would they talk about you out there? Then you think about what would they do? Would they buy? Would they buy you? Or would there be a repeat purchase of you? what action, what behaviors do you want them to see? So Rapid Insight has actually been put together to actually look into this. There are some elements of Rapid Insight that are put out there that you see and know. So you need to understand that if you are doing Rapid Insight, all these four things, think, feel, what does the customer think, feel, do, or say, should be your guiding lamp. Should be your guiding lamp. So if you're collecting insight, and insights are not based on any of these four things, then I think you're misfiring in terms of a customer insight. So there are several Rapid Insight tools out there, but I just want to talk about three for today because of time. We have storytelling, we have center of influence, and more. I'll focus on this three: customer journey mapping. I know some of you have heard about it, but we need to reconsider. So we'll talk about it. We'll talk about cart sorts with prioritization. So we'll talk about cart sorting with prioritization, and then customer support, how to use our customer support for Rapid Insights. So customer journey, as most of you have seen, it's just a method of assessing, visualizing, and mastering customer experiences. The key word is customer experience. And it helps review a product or service system from the customer's perspective, allowing you to identify opportunities for improvement and innovation. That's the key word, innovation. So our little one is actually filling a customer's shoe, quite big. And the customer journey has actually been played out there as something more technical, more for the marketers or market researchers to actually look into, but a small business owner can actually do it. So I'll take the next two presentations to demystify customer journey and how you can do it, and you can even do it today. So customer journey is actually focused on touch points, and customer touch points are out there and for you. It depends on the business that you run, and you could see that there are various touch points, but I just provide some bits of touch points that you can see from websites to social media, mobile phone, delivery, and events. Everywhere the customer is actually interacting with you. So the journey is across touch point. But no matter how you see it, there are behaviors that you expect the customer to take at each of its touch point. There are about 5 different behaviors that you expect the customer, that is being seen, or for the customer to take. From the point where they are aware, they know about you, to the point where they consider you, or they are considering a purchase decision, to where they've actually made a purchase and they continue to enjoy the service afterwards, to loyalty. So there are about 5 stages of 5 activities that customers do in each of these touch points, which you should consider. So they're actually being made aware about you, either through social media. They are considering buying decision based on the promotion that you are running. They actually make purchases if you have online profile for them, or the storefront it's nearby for them. Then they consider service. What is a customer service? And then the consumption before, like after purchase, consumption, and loyalty, where they get to recommend you to others. Now, as a business owner, you need to consider how your customers feel, or what they think, or what they do, or what they say about each of these touch points, and in each activity that they do, or how your current process is actually impacting this information. So what do? You go through the process. It's a seamless process. So what you actually do is you do a customer journey audit of the touch points. I'll show a small template of how you can do this. It's a very simple thing that you can do. So as I've mentioned, you can adapt this. And in doing so, you list all your touch points on the left of my screen. That's on the first column. And you look at listing, the awareness, consideration, purchase, and service loyalty, all the activities that the customer engages in there. Now, against cross-mapping your website and awareness, you get to see it's your what are you actually doing to the customer? You put on the hat of a customer. You actually feel the pains of the customer, understand the pain point of the customer as you go to the website to understand whether your product, if you have a website, if you have a storefront, it's your storefront actually creating awareness to your customer. There you know. It's a storefront actually creating consideration. Then as you've seen this, then you consider what improvements you need to put in there. Because you can't have insight. If you know there's a problem, you can't have insight without taking action on it. And that is where you need to put in what you need to do to improve the awareness, improve consideration, purchase, service, and loyalty across all the touch points. So you have your touch point. You get to put all the touch points in the first column. Then the first row, you map all in the first row, you put in all the activities. Then you map the various activities and the improvement areas across each of the activities that you expect your customer to take. I would go on to talk about cart sorting. However, put in mind that you need to use your own frame of reference in here to actually plot this journey. You need to actually use your frame of reference in here to go through. And that is how you as a business owner can do this to glean customer insight. The next one will be on cart sorting with prioritization. Cart sorting, it's a simple research tool, but I've actually added prioritization. And I'll talk about how I try to change this or adapt this in various forms. So cart sorting is mostly, it's a well-established technique for discovering how customers understand, categorize, or prioritize information. And this is mostly done for websites. It's mostly done for website. But you could use same for storefront. If you don't have a website, you could use this for storefront. How this works is you actually, this technique makes you sense check the information that you present before your customers, how they see it, and then how they build it. So what you do is to put in a list of maybe product alternatives, or any other, and then put all on a small cart printed together. Then when you meet your customer, and then you actually put in, you can even put your innovation idea in there as well. Then you put it before the customer, and then get a customer actually prioritize, pick the ones that he will choose first, the next, and the third. And you get to see, you do this across about 10 customers, and you get to see where you need to do changes. You can also do it based on how they feel about some sectors within your business. You can put them together and then let them sort out this information. That's the adaptation of cart sorting for your business. But mostly it's used for website to see how information is actually laid out on a website, to see visitors, whether visitors actually understand it from the user point, understand the information flow. Is it coherent enough? Is it concise? Is it clear enough for the visitor, or the web visitor, or the web user? But for customers, if you don't have a website on, you can adapt this. As I said, you put your list of services. If you want to make changes on your services, you can even list out the areas that you want to look at in terms of services. And you get to put it down for prioritization, for them to choose what they like first and which one they don't like. And that's a very seamless and simple way to do this. That is, for me, that method is what we call the closed cart method. But in doing so too, my favorite is to have the hybrid cart method, cart sort method. By allowing your customers to actually prefer or propose new changes or some areas or how they see it. Maybe the cards you've given, it's not exhausting enough. They want some addition. That's where you get to discover new insights from your client. It's so simple and devoid of any long research process or anything. And people get to rank items that you've put together based on what they feel it's of bigger priority to them. And that will help you with your business insight and for innovation as well. Lastly, I want to talk on customer support. So our contact center or your contact center or your storefront, your customer service interact with customers, and they always come around asking questions and all that. They have questions on product issues that they may have. Focus on using responses from or to your customers to glean insight. What do I mean by this? Instead of just focus on resolving the problem which you are resolving, ask questions, introduce open-ended questions, train your customer service team or your contact center representatives or agents to have the skills or to wear hats of product managers or business owners to think more about the products that they are calling on. They should focus on asking open-ended questions. Examples. How would this work to the customer? The customer will actually give information like new insight for them to document or put down. Or how would this help you? And that will trigger your next step of startup to innovate your processes as well. So the focus here is on asking open-ended questions as customer service team, or you yourself doing so in order to elicit customer insight. It's about focusing on the needs of your customers at that moment. But instead of focusing or universally solving a problem at a go, try as much as possible to glean further solutions from your customers as well. What do they think? How would this work for them? And all that. And that is where personalization comes in. And it's in asking such questions that you get to see their motivation, feeling, and they tell stories about your product or services. So try as much as possible to train your customer service representative to be looking out for insights through questions. They should look out for innovative ideas from this customer insights that have been brought out by customers who call in for customer support. This can be coupled with the customer feedback that we give. The good thing about this customer support is it's real time. The customer is connected to you. You get to sense what they feel, what they think, and then what they do, what they want to do or say right before you. Different from customer feedback, which is more of anonymous, or sometimes if it's not anonymous, the customer just writes and you don't get to understand the feeling, the motivations, or the what they'll say or their behavior afterwards. But it's in customer support, real time. We will be able to get innovative ideas from it. So that's all for me. Thanks so much for spending time with me on understanding customer insight for innovation. So I'll be all ready for your questions that I know some are ready. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Elymas. That was extremely insightful. I'm sure that everyone got as much information as possible from this. We have a few questions for you. I see 3 questions specifically for you, but I just want to notify everyone and remind everyone that if you have any questions for Elymas, please use the Q&A function, because that is where we're going to be pulling questions from to answer, because we may not be able to keep up with the questions in the chat function. So if you've put your question there, please put it in the Q&A section so that we can actually answer it, because we have quite a lot of messages in the chat function. I'm just saying that again because I can see some questions, but if you have any person questions, please put it in the Q&A function. Okay, our first question here is, do you think online or offline is more cost effective for acquiring customers for a B2C company, e.g. Conga? Billboards are very expensive, but I wonder if they work better than Google or Facebook ads.
Great question. So you should look at the current situation in which we are. Most of our customers or users are online based on unfortunate COVID. So understand that you are reaching for higher reach at a lower cost in terms of acquiring customers. I believe online will be good. There are some online platforms that will give us higher reach and all that. And also understand the segment in which you work and the type of audience that you want to reach and how they work. And in doing so, I may not understand your audience based on where you are, or maybe you may be chatting from, but work through a day in a life of your typical customer. Understand what are the touch points that they've reached through. Draw that persona of that customer, and you understand how best to reach out. But maybe a company of such in Ghana, I will focus on online because Conga is already online. So understand that usability. The customer is already online as Conga, so you need to focus on marketing online, digital platform, for a higher reach as well. So first, understand your persona before you can go for either online or offline in your jurisdiction. That would be my idea on this.
Thank you. I also want to add that why some people prefer digital ads is because they give more in-depth insights than platforms like offline platforms like billboard and print media as well. So that's something to consider. So if you want more in-depth insights that tells you more about your customers, maybe you should go for digital ads as opposed to billboards, because you don't get that much insights from billboards. Okay, the next question is, which survey method can be particularly best used to gather insights for a digital marketing agency? Right.
So for a digital marketing agency, you can do online posts. That should be fine for you for now because your audience are already online. So online posts should be fine. And feedback, look at your feedback. Frequently asked questions, pick from that, and then you can pick some information from it. But an online post should be fine for you.
Thank you for that. And now, like I said, we only have avenues for 3 questions. So I think this question that says, when and how can a small business source or generate data from? I think that's pretty much what you just answered, right? But do you have an alternative? Yes. So we've already answered that. Our last question before we go into the Flutterwave session is, please explain disruption again for creating commercial value.
Thank you. So disruption, it's tapping into new market or actually moving the product into, or you're actually moving the product into areas where the category that you are not actually expected to be, or bringing in new ideas in the space. So you either disrupt or be disrupted. That's the idea. So as a business, you need to think about how your customer insight will actually give commercial value in terms of profit from whatever you bring into the new space. So disruptive innovations are the way to go now. It's much more even digital now. And because customer needs are limitless and customer needs are changing with time. And it's in delivering that needs, because if the need is actually delivered, there's a market for it, and the market will actually get more users, more audience to actually grow or your profits for you. And think if you are doing disruption or you are doing thinking about going to disrupting innovation, start with prototyping. Prototype, if because you've not gone into that space before, start and prototype. Prototype and test it. And it's all part of the design thinking phase. And it's something you should actually consider.
Thank you so much, Elymas. So we're now moving on to our second session, which is going to be held by Adejuwon Oyebanjo, who works in our growth team, and he has a special focus on SMEs. Adejuwon, hi, we're ready for you.
Thank you, Elymas, for the insightful session. Thank you, everyone, for joining with us. My name is Adejuwon, and I'm here to talk about the Flutterwave store. We'll be wrapped with this morning because of time. Basically, I'm here to tell you how you can successfully scale your business and thrive better as a business owner with the Flutterwave store. So yes, what is the Flutterwave store? Flutterwave store is an e-commerce website, or rather a sub website that will provide to SME business owners. It enables you to accept payments from anywhere in the world. You don't really need to have a website. You don't need to have any technical know-how. Basically, it allows you to list your product. You upload images, set prices and other descriptors. You also have the ability to add your delivery partners. We also have integrated delivery partners to help you on your order fulfillment. So typically, what we do on Flutterwave store is for you to be able to have like a mini website, kind of like what you see, right? What you see around, have a mini website where you can upload your product and sell, right? And it is backed by the full power of Flutterwave for Business, right? You are able to accept payment via different options. Why did we conceive the Flutterwave store? We started because of the global COVID-19 pandemic. We wanted to help businesses, SMEs mostly, to keep the lights on during the global COVID-19 pandemic. The store is a very simple and easy to use platform because it's designed to bring your business, that your corner store, your stores that are offline, your businesses that are home. We designed this so that you can bring them online, whether with minimal hassle, right? How does the Flutterwave store work? You need to have a Flutterwave account first before you are able to use the Flutterwave store. We will share links on how to, get signed up on the Flutterwave dashboard in order for you to be able to access and set up the Flutterwave store. If you have one already, typically this is what you see, the picture on the left here. You'll see the Flutterwave store on the left. When you click on it, you'll be able to edit your store name. You will also be able to put in your store descriptions, edit the store URL as desired, and then you click setup. When you click setup, you'll be able to get your store link, which you can then share with members in your community. You can send to people, put on your social media pages. You can send it via WhatsApp and the likes. Now, this is a brief process on how to set up your Flutterwave store. All you need to do is to add products to your Flutterwave store. You can set descriptions, you can set sizes, you can set images, right? And then you take the products online, right? We'll share a video on how you can do this after the presentation. Like I said, the presentation will be quite short because of time, right? Remember, I said you can get, the moment you set up your store, you get a store link where you can then share, with your prospective customers or with your existing customers so they can make orders, right, on that store, on your store, and then you'll be able to deliver. The moment they make orders, you'll be able to accept payments via the different payment options that we have available. Who can use the Flutterwave store? Anybody can use the Flutterwave store as far as you have a legit business with products and services to sell. There are no boundaries, no borders, no limits. The idea is to, make that corner store, that's home-based business, a global business. Anybody can order from you anywhere, right? With Flutterwave store, you have the same power to process payments as any company on the Flutterwave store, right? This is a typical example. You see the picture on the left, a typical example of orders made on the Flutterwave store, showing order summary and the checkout button. Now, benefits of selling on the Flutterwave store: you have better brand visibility and improved sales. You don't need any website. The setup is quite easy. product listing is limitless. You're able to add description of the product, image, size, and weight. You are even also able to offer discounts. You can set up discount codes on the Flutterwave store. Additionally, it comes with an inventory management system to tell you how high or low you are on stock. Also, it comes with an integrated delivery system. On this part too, you are able to handle your delivery if you don't want to use our own partners, right? Also, we have multiple payment options, cards, bank transfer, USSD, QR code. You can also accept local and international card payments. What is also key these days is the fact that we have an inbuilt fraud management solution. So to avoid and minimize losses associated with fraud, right? So yeah, typically what you have online today is people putting on their social media pages DM for price and all of that. You don't need to do that any longer. The moment you have a Flutterwave store, you can set up all your products, put your prices, put their descriptions. Everything is automated, and all your products and prices are set up at no cost. That's what the Flutterwave store is for. You don't need to wait for anybody to send your account details. We will settle you all the payments that you receive via the store, right? I would share a link on an how-to video, right, or on setting up a Flutterwave store, and I'll also share a link on how to get registered on the Flutterwave so you can have access to this. Thank you very much. You can also put in your questions in the questions and answers box, right, so we can fill them appropriately. All right, have a great week, guys.
Thank you so much, Adejuwon. So we've had some questions which I have already answered in the chat function. Someone asked if they can sell digital products on Flutterwave store. It depends on if your product requires a digital download. If it does require a digital download, it's not yet available on store, but I have shared some links for you to use Flutterwave payment links, which makes it possible for you to have digital download available. So we have a few questions. I am going to take 3 of these questions before we round up, because we're now 5 minutes over time. So the first question is, please, I want to know which one is better to use on WordPress, the Rave payment form plugin, or just to create a payment link and in your Flutterwave account and use anchor text. Okay. Adejuwon, would you like to answer this? Or should I answer it? I can answer it as well.
Okay, so I think it depends. Do you have a platform yet? If you have a website, of course, you can use the Rave payment form plugin, right? If that makes it easier for you to transact. And you can also use the payment links. You can actually use any of the plethora of options or payment services that we actually provide, right? So anyone that you decide to use works, right? I reckon the form plugin is for you to tie to your website, which works good. For one-off payment, you can use payment links and send to people. So that works good also. So any one of the two works perfectly, right?
Thank you. Our next question is, does Flutterwave allow white-labeled customized solutions on the payment engine, e.g., that is a replica of Flutterwave for payment collections, Adejuwon?
Yes, we do. For our payment engines, yes, we do white labeling. That's a conversation we can have. If you will be kind to just shoot us an email, we can take it further from here. Yes, we do allow white labeling, right? Of course, there are certain requirements as to being able to access that service, but we can have that conversation after now. We do white labeling.
And for our last question, like I said, I'm really sorry if we can't get to your question, but if you have specific questions, email hi@flutterwavego.com or send a DM on Twitter, FLW support. We'll be able to answer you. So for our last question, would the payments go to a Flutterwave account first, or do I get paid directly into my own account?
So there are 2 options. When you register for a Flutterwave merchant dashboard, you are availed a set of currency wallets, right? In your settings, you'll be able to tweak whether or not you want to be settled to those wallets or you want them to go to your bank account, right? So you have 2 options. It depends on whichever fits your use case. You can decide to have the money settled into your merchant wallet, right, or directly into your bank account.
Thank you so much. So we have officially come to the end of our webinar today. I'm really sorry that we took 8 minutes of your time. I'm going to try and round this up as quickly as possible. Firstly, thank you so much to Elymas for your insightful session. We really learned a lot, and we've had so many requests, as you can see, from people asking if they can get the recording. You're definitely getting the recording and the presentation as well. We'll be sending that this week. Elymas, do you want to say something really quickly before I just round up and finish?
No, thanks so much to Flutterwave for the opportunity to share, and I look forward to further sharing another time. Thank you.
Thank you. How can people reach you or send you a message or email you?
Yeah, so my private email is eedekonor@gmail.com as well. And I think you can reach me through that for now. That should be fine. Okay.
Thank you. Like I said, we can't get to all questions, but we're rounding up now. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you, Elymas. Thank you, Adejuwon, for your presentation. If your question was not answered, please check the chat box function and email hi@flutterwavego.com. I will be able to answer your questions. If you are more active on social media and on Twitter, you can send a message to us at FLW support or at the Flutterwave, and we'll be able to answer you as well. Please send a direct message. Don't put your personal information out on social media. That is unsafe. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful and pleasant week.